Yu-Gi-Oh! 2020 season has started exactly how we thought it would start, with decks slotting out as what we was talking about were the best decks, and a few surprises and some awesome wrinkles. If you guys wanted to know what are the best decks of the format, well, this video still holds pretty true. Now, there are some decks that are sleeper decks into this format, and I'll be able to talk to you guys about that later. I know what you guys are here for. You guys want to see what are the best staples and hand traps for this format. What cards should you be using to improve your game? And I'm here to tell you guys. I'm TheCaliEffect, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, then go and destroy that subscribe button. But more importantly, go at that notification bell because, well, we just too strong. So without further ado, I present to you the best staples and hand traps for the August 2019 format. One of the better staple cards that is used in just about everyone's main deck, and if not their main deck, it is in their side deck, is Twin Twisters. At the cost of discarding one card from your hand, it can destroy multiple back row on the side of the field. Now, back row decks come in either masses or they don't come at all. There's some top decks like Altergeist, True Draco, and even Subterra Guru that really loves to play that back row, and Twin Twisters definitely takes advantage of it. And then you turn around and look at the top decks like Danger Thunder Dragon, or you turn around and look at Solomon Great, which plays back row sparsely. And that's where Cosmic Cyclone comes in, because a lot of decks in this meta play a ton. And when I mean a ton, I just mean that one copy of their field spell card. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Orchestrated Bubble is a one of inside of the Orca's deck. Solomon Great has their field spell, and Cosmic Cyclone can even hit your Sky Striker Airspace Area 0 on your opponent's side of the field, and they won't get their effect. So definitely Twin Twisters is amazing for hitting those multiple back row decks, but don't sleep on Cosmic Cyclone, which doesn't really have a cost. I mean, 1,000 life points, that's a cost, are you kidding me? And can remove a spell or trap card from the field. Mind Control is finding popularity in people's decks. I don't know if it's really from the World Championship 2019 or people are starting to wise up that, hey, a lot of times if I'm playing a meta deck, I'm going to be playing the mirror match. It would be awesome to be able to snatch their card and use it for my own. And the Solomon Great matchup, being able to snatch their Sunlight Wolf and only commit one monster to it, and being able to recur resources if you have them in your graveyard, as well as making your own Sunlight Wolf, is pretty good. And an Orcust matchup and left open Galtea could mean that they won't be able to gain the effects of the Crescendo, but you can use the effects of their Galtea. Against the Thunder Dragon matchup, well, if you don't protect that Thunder Dragon Colossus, you can take it for yourself and use it for your own needs. Worst case scenario, if you play those generic Link monsters, you can just snatch your opponent's monster and use it for your own Link, guaranteeing that they won't be using it. Mind Control completely shines in the mirror match. Playing against your very own deck, being able to use their resources for your own is where Mind Control is at best. But even if you do decide to main deck this staple, it's not a bad card for disrupting your opponent. A card that I've seen popping around sparingly, but is still a very powerful card, is Solemn Strike. We're in a day and age where effect monsters are still everything in Yu-Gi-Oh! And Solemn Strike almost has no counter whatsoever. At the cost of 1,500 life points, you can negate a monster effect, whether it's a hand trap, a critical monster on the field, and even a monster effect in the graveyard. It's often followed by its partner in Solemn Judgment, which just came off the list at 3. And Solemn Judgment, I feel, has mixed results, because while it is a strong card, Yu-Gi-Oh! We're in a day and age where there are so many outs that Solemn Judgment, the wrong card, can actually cost you the game more than it can keep you in the game. I think that Solemn Strike is the better card because of the life point requirement, but I also wouldn't sleep on Solemn Judgment, because if you do use it at the right time, or if you just have 3 set face down, you're probably going to win that game. So, Monster Reborn is finally viable again for almost the exact same reason that Mind Control is viable for. If you're playing the Orcust mirror match, special summoning their Galtea back to your side of the field so you can gain its effects is pretty cool. And hey, using the same Monster Reborn to special summon that Solomon Great Sunlight Wolf, or even a Thunder monster or another extender piece to your side of the field to link off with, is amazing in almost every single matchup. Monsters are going to be placed in the graveyard, so Monster Reborn not only acts as an extender when your opponent does disrupt you with cards like Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, it also can be used against your opponent in the mirror matches, because not only do you take away their monster, you can use it for your own effects. I think that Monster Reborn is just a solid card in this meta. Lastly, as one of the best staples is super polymerization, one of the strongest but fairest cards that Konami has made. Super polymerization allows you to use your opponent's monsters and your monsters as fusion material for a fusion summon. Now that normally doesn't always work out, as hypothetically you would need to be in a mirror match to resolve super poly. Well, that's when monsters like Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, or Predaplant Dragostapelia, or even Solomon Great Violet Chimera come into play, which are pretty generic and allows you to summon monsters almost for free to your side of the field. We're in a state in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where your opponent will make huge negate boards, and while we are getting cards inside of the 2019 Megatins to help combat that, Super Polymerization to 3 is a fresh feel. What's crazy about Super Polymerization to 3 is that people don't play 3. I think it's a very good 1 and 2 of 3 of if you have the room, but then a lot of times you're looking at Super Polymerization and trying to fit in so many cards into your extra deck just to be able to match certain matchups. It's not that great of a card. Super Polymerization is one of the more balanced cards that Konami has made, one of the better cards that Konami has made at the same time, and is a very powerful card inside of this format. Now that we are done talking about the winners, the cards that are the best staples and hand traps, I'm going to talk to you guys about the cards that are on a little bit of a decline. First being Dino Wrestler Pankratrops, which is seen in almost every side deck still, but has went from 3 to 2. Dino Wrestler Pankratrops is still a very powerful card. Being able to have a free monster to your side of the field, a 2600 body, and can destroy cards is just insane. But the Yu-Gi-Oh! Game is getting fast-paced, even for Pankratrops to keep up. Sometimes having Pankratrops in your hand is a good option, but there are other cards that you would rather have in your hand to be able to disrupt your opponent. While Pankratrops does have versatility, it doesn't really get rid of multiple cards in your opponent's side of the field or can't deal with multiple threats. A lot of players have been opting to go with that multiple threat option. Red Reboot is another card that surprisingly is on the downturn too, because decks like True Draco and Subterra Guru do have Solemn Judgment. Red Reboot you would think that Red Reboot would be a card that everybody should play. On the contrary, it's not. Cards like Cosmic Cyclone and Tin Twisters are more popular because you don't have to pay half of your life points, and we already know we're going into a grind game against these decks. Even more importantly, while Red Reboot is still really powerful against those back row heavy decks, it does nothing in our meta to the other decks. So players are starting to opt for having other cards in their extra deck to combat the more meta decks and not really caring about the other strategies, the rogue strategies, or just the back row heavy decks. Called by the Grave is another card in a pretty peculiar place. While it is the end-all, be-all, stop your opponent's hand traps and keep on moving, it's a card that players are starting to drop. Some players don't even play Call by the Grave, which is crazy because hand traps exist everywhere, right? Hand traps are not as powerful as they once were, and Call by the Grave has suffered because of that. On top of that, Call by the Grave does have good interactions against some of the best decks of the format, namely Orcust, Solomon Great, Danger Thunder, just about anything you can think of. Cards like Call by the Grave aren't being played because you can have cards that help you with your strategy instead of disrupting your own. We're getting to a point in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where your opponent can legitimately play Yu-Gi-Oh! And no matter what they set up, you can still play Yu-Gi-Oh! Too. That is insane. Now that we are done with the best staples, we can move on to the hand traps. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to destroy, that's right, destroy that like button. Let's see if we can get this video to 1,000 likes. Starting off with our very first card, the biggest winner of this format is Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Like seriously, there really isn't a good strategy in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now that Ghost Ogre can't hit. Against the Pendulum matchup, oh, it's cake. You can destroy any of their Pendulum scales and even get rid of Electromite in a pinch. Against the Orcust matchup, it does struggle against a seasoned veteran as they won't activate Galtea in the extra monster zone. But for the players that want to activate Galtea in the extra monster zone, Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit can stymie their combo. On top of that, being able to hit Topologic Bomber Dragon, which is really good with the Orcust strategy, can allow you to play Yu-Gi-Oh! If they summon a monster to where a Link Arrow points to. Against decks like Thunder Dragon, or any dragon deck that uses the Guard Dragon engine, Ghost Ogre has a ton of choke points. Whether you're hitting the Guard Dragon Pisty, hitting the Guard Dragon LP, Guard Dragon players have to watch out for Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. It is a card that can ruin your day if you don't have the appropriate extenders. Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit right now is the best hand trap in Yu-Gi-Oh! I advise you use it appropriately. Following up after Ghost Ogre is a card that's regulated to the side deck more often than not, but Duel and Lockbird is really powerful. Every deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is back to searching, and Duel and Lockbird says, yeah, you can search that one time, but don't search ever again in my presence. It's a card that can stop decks right in their tracks. I really shouldn't have to say much about Duel and Lockbird other than, again, a lot of decks search. And with the new Forbidden list hitting so much consistency in other decks, they need to play cards to be able to add cards from their deck to their hand. Duel and Lockbird is just that card sometimes. It can completely shut down your opponent's turn and prevent them from making that multiple negate board. Saravis is a funny blue card. Like, how many times have you guys seen someone summon Saravis? I've probably seen someone summon hand traps, every other hand trap in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game, but not Saravis. It's a card that is just used to stop your opponent from stopping you. And it reminds me of the Boondocks when he told Tom, I need you to help me help you. And that's what Saravis does. It's a pretty good card, again, at stopping your opponents from targeting. And I think it does have a place in this format where targeting is running amok. Diddy Crow would be the next card that has been regulated to a lot of players' side deck because they see tons of potential in the card. At the cost of discarding this card, you can banish one card from your opponent's graveyard. Not just monsters, not just spells, not just traps, but any card in your opponent's graveyard. I shouldn't have to stress that in a lot of matchups that can be huge. Against Solomon Great, they only have one Gazelle. Do I really need to say much more? And even against Sky Striker, being able to banish their Sky Striker Ace Ray, well, that might be a problem for them if you're trying to break their board and they're counting on the card. Diddy Crow is just insanely powerful right now, and keep in mind it can negate monsters or it can banish monsters, spells, and traps inside of a graveyard-reliant format. The last Big Daddy winner is Infinite Impermanence. Now, Infinite Impermanence, but no effect value on this list will probably have you scratching your head until you start to realize that Infinite Impermanence can be activated during any phase, and the only drawback is that you have to control no cards. But if you are going first, Infinite Impermanence is still really good because you can set it face down and prevent your opponent from activating spells and trap cards in this column, their column. Now, I know it's almost been a year since Infinite Impermanence has been out, but people still forget the effect or don't know how the column effect works. If you activate it from your hand, you can't negate cards in the column, but if you have it on your field, then yes, it negates cards. There are so many times where players don't play cards in their column because you activated Infinite Impermanence from your hand and you're just like, okay. Or you activate Infinite Impermanence and they choose to activate the card in the same column even after you've activated it from your hand or from your field, them thinking it's a hand trap. Infinite Impermanence has versatility as a trap card on the side of the field, but also serves as a hand trap. Can be searchable through cards like Trap Trick and Lady Limits. Yeah, I think Infinite Impermanence is good to go. Now that we are done with the winners, ladies and gentlemen, there has to be some losers. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is still being played in droves. It's still a pretty good card. But Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit has finally taken the reins as the best card or the best hand trap of the format. Did I forget to mention that you can emergency teleport Ghost Ogre to your side of the field and use its effects on the field? No other hand trap has that. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is generic, but it isn't powerful enough right now. And then the last loser would have to go to Effect Veiler, because Effect Veiler does not solve the problem. It negates the monster, but unfortunately the monster remains on your side of the field. And on top of that, you can't Effect Veiler on your turn. Infinite Impermanence kinda does that. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the best staples and hand traps for the August 2019 format. If you guys want to see more of these videos, then go ahead and destroy that like button. Make sure you guys get this video to 1,000 likes. And also, you guys gotta stay strong. Thank you guys so much for watching. I also want to take this time to give a mad shout out to every single one of my Patreons. You guys are too strong, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day like I am.